Devin. I think he just waited for the everything to go in positive territory before he joined us. He's the vice president for Blue Line Futures, Oliver Sloup. Oliver, not very often we talk about markets being higher across the board. That's where we start, though.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you getting those markets green before having me come on this morning. It's always more fun to talk about markets when they're going up. But I'd say it's obviously a really great start to the week. Last week was a little bit hot and cold. We had a great up day on Thursday. Really no follow through on Friday, and then the Sunday night trade, obviously a little bit softer tone as well. But then we got that Truth Social post from President Trump overnight that kind of reignited some optimism from the buyers, and we've got these markets moving back north. Now, does that post on Truth Social really change anything fundamentally? No, but what it does do is open up the door for potential upside risk, headline risk in the near future. And I think the big question from here is, does China kind of step in and play the dance back and forth with President Trump with regards to trade and agricultural markets?
Okay, I mentioned the WASDE report. Really thought that would be our focus today. Are you still watching that?
Still watching the WASDE report. Average yield estimate is going to be the big headline number that we're looking at for corn. That comes in at 184.3, well above where the USDA was last month at 181. So I suspect that we'll probably trade that WASDE report there for maybe an hour or so. We'll talk about the headline risk, and then I think a lot of the attention is going to turn towards the crop tour that starts next week as well, which we'll be on, and we'll be starting on the Eastern Lake. So it'll be good to get some boots on the ground really across the whole Corn Belt to kind of get a better idea of what's actually out there. We've heard of some potential pollination issues. How widespread is that? Still to be determined. So again, it's going to be good to get out there in the field and see for ourselves.
All right, two questions I'm pretty sure you've been asked now when it comes to the cattle market. When will we start rebuilding the herd? And two, when will we hit a top? Maybe we can answer one of those questions, maybe. Coming up in just a moment, Market Day Report continues after this. August 339.10, September 339.45. That's down 92. And I think one of the questions I had picked up on over the weekend, have we found the high now in the cattle market? Oliver Sloup's with Blue Line Futures. And, after that major pullback on Friday, we really need to see what happens over the next few days. Is that a good way to look at it?
That is absolutely right. The next couple of days, I think, are going to be really extremely important in setting the tone really throughout the rest of the month, which, as I've mentioned before to you, August is seasonally a weaker time of year for cattle, and it seems like a lot of people are starting to take note of that after Friday's limit down move in feeders, which gave us expanded limits for live cattle and feeder cattle today. That's 1075 in live cattle and 1375 for feeder cattle. Whether or not we test those, still to be determined. Doesn't look like we will here today. But I think it just kind of brings to light the big question, as you had mentioned, where's the market top? And fundamentally, I think the fundamentals are still pretty darn strong for live cattle and feeder cattle. However, I would note that longer-term bull markets and bear markets, for that matter, generally top and bottom before there's really any new news to warrant it. So I think there's a lot of caution flags going up right now, especially with the way that the funds are positioned. We saw on Friday what can happen when it's very one-sided. If everyone's already long, who is left to buy when they look to exit? And that's what we saw on Friday, and that still continues to be a concern for the downside risk here, despite the strong fundamental backdrop.
All right, let's talk hogs for a moment. Lower 3 consecutive sessions. Our lean hog market today is mixed. Higher on the front 2 months. Any thoughts here?
Mixed seems to be about par for the course, or at least par for the course for our expectations here in the near term. We're just kind of trapped right in between the 20 and 50-day moving averages, and really not a whole lot of fundamental news to really gyrate us above or below that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit quieter of a trade. And I was joking with some guys at the end of last week. It's almost like all the hog traders are just kind of sitting on their hands and eating some popcorn while they watch the cattle market fly around.
Well, you said mixed trade, and I thought I'd just I brought a prop, well, part of a prop out today. It's a Ballpark brand, and it's pork and beef blended patties. I found those at the grocery store over the weekend, and they're mixed, so I thought that would fit in perfectly.
I can't wait to hear the review. One bite, everybody knows the rules.
Absolutely. Again, it's Oliver Sloup Blue Line Future. So what